And everyone, we're tracking Apple here this morning as well. Apple reporting its fiscal second quarter earnings after the closing bell. That's coming later today. The stock down over 12% year to date. Much of that because of the slowdown in China sales and a lag on AI development relative to some of its big tech peers. For more on what traders need to watch for in today's earnings report, we've got Yahoo Finance's Tech DH, the Dan Howley that you all know and love. He's here with us in studio. Hey, Dan.
My dad just really hated that swing that I did. Little League didn't do much for me.
Elbow out.
Yeah, elbow out. I think the big thing that traders are going to be looking at, obviously, is going to be China. The headlines have been that sales there are going to be far lower than anybody may have expected, even a few months back. And there's two reasons for that. There's obviously China's economy, a little slow there, and then the resurgence of Huawei. And it's an interesting discussion, right? Because when the U.S. effectively tried to kneecap Huawei in 2019, Apple came in and took a lot of that market share from where Huawei was. And now that Huawei has returned, that market share is kind of returning back to them. And so there's this kind of equilibrium kind of setting in, and it doesn't look good on paper, obviously. The other thing that people should be looking out for is services. This is supposed to be one of the lone bright spots in Apple's earnings report. They're expected to be up around 10, 11% year over year. That's compared to declines in Mac, iPad, wearables, iPhone. That's what the projections are looking like now. So services is a good indicator of Apple holding on to consumers. That's also part of the problem when it comes to iPhone sales, as well as regular device sales, things like the watch and AirPods. If you have something and it works a long time, why are you going to go out and get the next one when they're effectively more or less the same? And then finally, there's AI, and that's going to be a discussion that we could hear more from Tim Cook or Apple's CFO, Lucas Mairati, basically going over how much they're spending, perhaps going into more about what we can expect at WWDC. Don't forget, Apple's also hosting its own event next week, May 7th, where they're expected to go over some iPad news. Perhaps we'll get some insights into what the AI section is doing for Apple, but that's going to be a main push moving forward. A lot of analysts are looking at that as being a potential catalyst for iPhone sales, potentially for iPad and Mac as well. They're going to most likely include this technology across their various OSs. So they'll have to come up with something that really gets consumers, enterprises interested in generative AI for the smartphone. Right now, ChatGPT is cool, it's good for the enterprise, but for consumers, it's not really doing too much quite yet.
All right, Dan, we're going to be watching for all these themes and much more. Yahoo Finance's own Dan Howley. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.